This is Bullying Prevention Month nationwide. No parent wants to hear that their child is being bullied, or certainly that their child is the one doing the bullying. This morning, our WTHR education expert, Jennifer Brinker from Greenwood Middle School, is here to help us tackle this growing problem, to figure out whether it's going on and how to prevent it and how to communicate with the school about it. Mrs. Brinker, the word bullying is thrown around a whole lot. What exactly is it? Can you define what bullying is?
Yeah, it's overt, unwanted, repeated acts and gestures that are committed to harass, ridicule, humiliate, intimidate, or harm a targeted student and make the school environment uncomfortable. And there's actually even more to it than that. We can link that up on the web story if you want to see it. So keep in mind that your child getting into one fight or a kid being rude to your child one time doesn't necessarily mean that's bullying. It's certainly not good, but we need to make sure that we know what that definition is before we can tackle it.
What are the different kinds of bullying as the Department of Education defines it?
Physical, verbal, social, and then cyberbullying, which is obviously a much bigger problem now with the access that kids have to devices, cell phones, and obviously social media. It's a lot easier for kids to say something behind a screen than to someone's face.
So say your child does come home or comes to you and says they're being bullied. What do you do about it?
I would say first consider yourself lucky that if they come to you and tell you, because a lot of times kids will not share that information with you. So you have to watch for symptoms like they're starting to withdraw themselves. If they are starting to lose interest or wanting to avoid school altogether, you might need to ask some questions to see if that could potentially be happening. And then the first thing that you have to do is if your child tells you they're being bullied, you have to monitor your own reaction. It's an emotional thing. It's not something that anybody wants to hear. But if you have a huge reaction, your child is not going to feel like it's a safe and supportive, stable environment for them to share all that information with you. So try and remain calm, ask good questions, and let your child talk. That would be the first step.
What's the next step?
Something I like to share with kids who express to me that they've is a simple metaphor. I talk about how people play with those kind of stress ball squishy things as you squeeze them and they go between your fingers and freak out. I talk to them about how nobody sits there and squeezes a baseball because it doesn't budge, right? So I can say to kids, try and be a baseball. I know that is easier said than done. That is hard. But the best thing to try and encourage your child to do is to have, well, first of all, let the bully know that it's not appreciated. It's hurting their feelings. Because sometimes they'll think they're just kidding around and teasing and it's not harmful. And then obviously you have got to let your child's teacher and school know what's going on so that we can put children on a bully plan and handle that with some consequences here at school.
What if we find out, if we get a phone call that our child is the bully?
Yeah, that's not a phone call that anyone would want to get either, obviously. And know that you're probably not being contacted about this unless it's been substantiated as well. So I would say as a parent, you need to get to the root of the reason that your child is bullying. Kids can be just trying to get attention. They can try and get approval from their peers. They might lack the ability to empathize very well and enjoy controlling others. There are a lot of reasons a kid could become a bully, and then you need counseling for your child. This is something that's going to go beyond necessarily maybe what you can handle at home. So I would seek that out as well. And this is hard too, but you have to look inward. Children who are in homes a lot of times where there's a lot of, aggression or unkindness, they're sometimes going to come to school and do that as well. So just try and check that out. And even keep in mind that it's not necessarily a bad kid that's bullying, but we just got to get to the root of that problem, get them some help and then appropriate consequences, but additionally focus more on how to make it right, what they can do to try and right the wrong. And that's going to be more effective long-term.
In those adolescent years, middle school had never been easy, but I think today it's much harder than it used to be. I know that you have a lot of links for more help for parents to take a look at. We're going to post those links in the story online at WTHR.com. Just look for the Mrs. Brinker segment online. Thank you very much as always, and we'll see you next week.
I'll see you next week. Thank you.
We'll be right back.